This is Global Currency Insight, and today we are bringing you one of the most talked about developments in the currency community. Reports are coming in that redemption centers in the United States may now be active, with individuals holding Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, and even Zimbabwe notes claiming that early exchanges are already taking place. For years, people have been waiting for signs that a revaluation process could finally move forward, and according to these accounts, that moment might now be here. The reports describe citizens receiving calls, being directed to secured facilities, and completing what they describe as official redemption steps. While none of this has appeared in mainstream outlets, the consistency across testimonies has created a wave of attention and speculation. In this report, we will walk through which cities are being mentioned, how the process inside these centers is being described, what kinds of rates are being whispered about, and what individuals say they needed to prepare before entering these highly controlled locations. The first detail being shared relates to geography. Multiple individuals claim that the earliest redemption activities are not happening everywhere at once, but in certain major U.S. cities that have long been rumored as test sites. The list of locations being named includes Dallas and Fort Worth in Texas, Atlanta in Georgia, Phoenix in Arizona, Tampa in Florida, Denver in Colorado, Las Vegas in Nevada, Nashville in Tennessee, and Salt Lake City in Utah. Reports describe these as places where selected individuals, many of them long-term currency holders, were called or invited to attend appointments. According to their stories, some of these redemptions are not taking place inside normal bank branches. Instead, they are said to occur in off-site facilities that are under strict security, with biometric access and processes set up specifically for this purpose. While these reports cannot be independently verified, the similarities between accounts have added to the attention. Inside these redemption centers, the process described is highly structured and layered with verification steps. Individuals say that entry begins with identity confirmation, where photo identification such as a driver's license or passport is required. Some accounts even mention fingerprint scanning or retina scans. After this step, the person's currency is presented in organized manner, often grouped by denomination. Staff then reportedly use professional counting machines to check each note, scanning for serial numbers, watermarks, and UV features to confirm authenticity. Some claim that the facilities are equipped with advanced scanning tools designed to quickly verify the legitimacy of each bill. The overall picture painted is one of strict protocol, leaving little room for error, with the aim of ensuring that only genuine currency passes through the system. One of the most discussed parts of these early exchanges is the mention of different rate levels being offered. People who claim to have participated describe a tiered system of exchange values. The first is said to be a street rate, which refers to the normal rate offered in everyday bank exchanges. The second is a contract rate, which allegedly applies to individuals with larger holdings or those presenting certain structured plans. A third is sometimes called a sovereign rate, which has been described as much higher, but reportedly connected to humanitarian or community project proposals. In some cases, participants claim that they were given presentations by financial advisors inside the centers, offering options like structured payouts, investment accounts, or trusts. These details have fueled ongoing discussions about what the redemption centers might actually be offering and how they decide what rate applies to each participant. The testimonies coming forward give the impression that while the process is serious and tightly controlled, it has been smooth for those who claim to have gone through it. One person from Houston, Texas, described being contacted by an unknown number and instructed to arrive at a specific location within 24 hours. Initially skeptical, they said their doubts faded when they saw government vehicles parked outside the facility. According to their account, They signed a non-disclosure agreement before exchanging their dong, calling the overall experience surreal. Another report comes from a retired Navy veteran in Florida who claimed to have exchanged both Zim and Dinar. They described the verification as taking less than 15 minutes and said they were offered structured accounts along with what they called a life-changing rate. Accounts like these are circulating widely, though most are shared secondhand through community networks. A recurring theme across nearly all these reports is the use of non-disclosure agreements. Participants state that they are required to sign legal documents prohibiting them from discussing details, such as the exact rates they received, the location of their appointment, or even the specific timing of their redemption. This is said to be one reason why mainstream news has not yet covered the story, since participants are legally bound to remain silent. The use of NDAs has also made verification difficult, as individuals cannot openly provide proof without risking penalties. According to those discussing the process, confidentiality is seen as necessary to keep the system orderly and prevent security risks, especially when large sums of money are involved. Another point raised in these reports is preparation. Individuals who claim to have gone through redemption emphasize the need for proper documentation and organization before being allowed inside. This includes bringing valid government-issued ID, proof of residency, such as a utility bill, and receipts from the original currency purchase if available. Some accounts mention that having a printed humanitarian project summary was encouraged, especially for those hoping to qualify for higher rates. Others stressed the importance of keeping the currency neatly organized by denomination and avoiding any last-minute rush. According to these reports, showing up unprepared could result in delays or even denial of entry. The emphasis is consistently placed on being calm, respectful, and professional throughout the process. While these reports focus on individual experiences, many also tie the events to broader global shifts. Some point to Iraq's recent budgetary adjustments, Vietnam's growing financial position, and central banks worldwide increasing their gold reserves as context for why these redemptions might now be possible. Others describe this as part of a larger transition from debt-based financial systems toward asset-backed economies. Redemption centers, in this narrative, are seen not just as exchange locations, but as physical entry points into a wider reset of global financial structures. Supporters of this view suggest that what happens inside these centers could have ripple effects far beyond the individuals involved, potentially reshaping economic relationships on a large scale. Accounts also mention restrictions and warnings about scams. Individuals are being advised not to respond to emails or calls from unverified sources, as opportunists may attempt to exploit the excitement around these developments. Legitimate redemption appointments, according to these reports, do not require upfront payments, cryptocurrency transfers, or access to personal bank passwords. People are also urged not to share details online or on social media, as even casual mentions could reportedly jeopardize their chances of participation. Security and confidentiality remain central themes, with participants told that silence is a form of protection both for themselves and for the broader process. Looking closer at the financial side, leaked ballpark figures have been whispered but never confirmed, since NDAs restrict participants from speaking publicly. Still, community chatter suggests that offers may be several times higher than current market exchange rates. For example, some claim Iraqi Dinar was valued in the $3.50 to $7 range, while Vietnamese Dong was offered between 47 cents and just over $2 per note. Zimbabwe bonds were said to involve structured payout options tied to project submissions. Again, these figures are not publicly verifiable, and it is stressed that they are not available at regular banks or exchanges. They are described as being unique to these controlled redemption appointments. Timing has also been highlighted. with some suggesting that redemption activity could occur in concentrated windows. Reports describe 48 to 72-hour periods where activity peaks and the most favorable rates are offered. After these windows, it is suggested that access could become more limited or that offered rates could shift. While this adds to the urgency felt by many holders, it also underscores the controlled nature of the process. Entry appears to be strictly by appointment, with participants contacted directly and given limited time to respond. Walk-ins are reportedly not allowed, and security is said to be high at all times. A number of people are drawing connections between these redemption activities and larger institutional movements. Some point to suggestions of U.S. Treasury approval, international financial reforms, and geopolitical stabilization as factors that may have opened the door. Others mention the increasing readiness of digital payment and blockchain-based security systems, which would make real-time validation and fraud prevention more feasible. Whether or not these connections are accurate, they reflect how the narrative has expanded beyond simple currency exchanges to encompass global financial shifts. The atmosphere described inside the centers is one of precision and oversight, with participants handled individually in controlled environments. From a community perspective, there are also smaller signs being noticed in local banking systems. Some people report their banks have suddenly stopped offering foreign currency purchases, while others say they have been informally advised by banker friends to be ready. While these observations cannot prove that redemption centers are active, they are being interpreted as additional signals that larger changes are underway. The fact that dozens of similar stories have circulated in the past 2 weeks alone has added to the belief that this is no longer a matter of speculation, but a process already in motion. Skepticism remains strong, however, as many continue to doubt that such redemption events are taking place. Critics argue that there is still no concrete proof beyond anecdotes, and that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. For those who do believe, this skepticism is seen as dangerous, with the risk being that unprepared holders may miss their chance if called. The tension between doubt and belief is shaping how the story is unfolding, with cautious optimism on one side and outright dismissal on the other. Yet, for those convinced by the growing number of similar testimonies, the advice remains the same: stay prepared, remain silent, and follow instructions if contacted. If these redemption events are indeed happening, they represent a significant transfer of wealth and a transition that goes beyond personal gain. They would symbolize a moment where average individuals, many of them veterans, retirees, or everyday investors, suddenly find themselves holding assets of transformative value. How this wealth is managed and distributed could have effects on local economies and communities, shaping development projects and charitable work in ways not yet fully imagined. At the same time, the secrecy and legal restrictions around the process keep it shrouded in uncertainty. Without mainstream confirmation, the story lies mainly in personal accounts and community discussions. As things stand, the claims suggest that tiered exchanges, advanced verification steps, and confidential agreements are no longer distant possibilities, but processes already underway in select U.S. cities. For those waiting, the consistent message is to be ready with documentation, keep communication lines open, and avoid unnecessary risks or public disclosure, whether or not these reports represent the beginning of a larger global financial realignment. They mark a moment of heightened attention and anticipation. If accurate, they suggest that what was once dismissed as rumor may now be unfolding quietly, but decisively behind the doors of secured facilities.